Shall we start? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulil kareem. Before we actually have the ceremony of the marriage, we have it comes in the life of our Prophet Muhammad. You must have heard his name, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. That he used to recite a certain couplets in Arabic. He used to recite them to get everyone in the mood, basically, to get everyone conscious. Because what happens usually on marriage is we become so engulfed in the ceremony and in the event, we forget the ultimate purpose and we forget the ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal of our lives, as Muslims, we believe, the ultimate goal of our lives is to please God and to avoid His displeasure, which will lead us in the hereafter. We believe in an afterlife, that in the hereafter either hell or paradise. So we believe if we please God, we will go to paradise. So what happens normally on a marriage ceremony is we forget that ultimate purpose, the objective of, yes, you know what, I have a Lord to please. And on marriage ceremonies, we become so engulfed in it that everything else becomes second priority. So he used to give a little speech before the marriage, just to get everyone back on track, saying, okay, we've had the days of preparation, now don't forget what you're getting married for. Marriage isn't just a means of, fulfilling your desires. Marriage is actually, it's a lifetime commitment. Even in Christianity, they have the priest would say, from till death do us apart. They'd have to take the vows, and in the vows, in the oath, they'll say till death do us apart. And that's exactly what marriage is. Okay, today marriage has been changed, and marriage has become like a 4 or 5 year relationship. And if somebody does live their whole lives in one marriage, it's considered some huge achievement because of the culture of today. So it's getting us in the mode. Now, what I thought about, Ibrahim Uncle texted me yesterday, he called me yesterday, and I was thinking, what do I speak about? And I thought, you know what, the greatest personality in Islam is the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And we believe him to be our role model, and we believe he was the closest to God. So naturally, if we wanted to achieve closeness to God and His pleasure, then we follow what Muhammad did, because he was a perfect example. And I thought, and it's a marriage, so let's talk about Muhammad and his marriages. How did he treat his wives? Obviously it's relevant for Farhan as well, and it's relevant for all of us here, just to remind us about who the man was. He wasn't obviously today's media would like to tell you a different story. He wasn't some sort of oppressive tyrant, or he wasn't some sort of wife beater. He wasn't some sort of, he wasn't oppressive to children. Actually, he had a companion, a young child, 10 years old. He used to be like the teacher's pet, basically. His name was Anas. And he served the Prophet Muhammad for 10 years. The Prophet was in Mecca for 13 years, then he moved to Medina for the last 10 years of his life. So this entire period in Medina, he served the Prophet Muhammad. And he says, and we have all this written down in our books, he says, in 10 years I served him, from when I was 10 till I was 20, till he passed away. I never saw him lift a finger on a woman, on a child, or on an animal. And I was his servant. He never ever asked me, why did you do it this way? And if I didn't do it, he never asked me, why didn't you do it? And if I didn't do something, he didn't ask, why didn't you do it? He didn't question me, he didn't intimidate me, he wasn't patronizing. He said the Prophet was a man who always had a smile on his face. Which is why it comes to another tradition, another prophetic tradition, something what Muhammad said, which has all been recorded in books. He says that never ever underestimate the value of a good deed. And he says one of the greatest deeds and a great charity is a man just comes across with a smiling face. Because when you smile at somebody, you warm the guy's heart. When you smile at somebody, it's automatically a sign of peace that yes, I've got no beef with you. This is, we're friends. If you go to him and, you look down upon him and, you've got those intimidating eyes, he's automatically going to get defensive and think, oh, what's this guy got with me? So that we're taught as Muslim, when you meet somebody, this isn't exclusive to Muslims. Whether he's a Muslim, a non-Muslim, a Christian, a Jew, whoever he is, you meet him with a smiling face. You greet him. If he's not a Muslim, you say, hello, good morning, how are you? If he is a Muslim, then we have a saying, Assalamu alaikum, which means, peace be upon you, there's nothing, I'm not going to cause any beef today. The Prophet taught all this. It comes in the traditions that the Prophet, he used to lie on his wife's laps, and they used to comb his hair. He had long hair. They used to comb his hair while he was lying on their laps. It comes another tradition that he had the two of his wives were sat eating, and one of them was wives. They were co-wives, So there was jealousy. And having co-wives is nothing new. Henry VIII had about, how many wives did he have?
8.
Yeah, he had 8 wives.
9.
When Prophet Muhammad does it, it's a problem. When Henry VIII did it, it wasn't a problem. Okay? So he had 2 of his co-wives there. And obviously they were jealous of each other. They want to be the one who most impresses Muhammad. Peace be upon him. So one of them complained about the other's food. And so that woman, the one who she's now getting defensive, she's complaining about my food. She takes a bit of the dessert and she puts it on the other one's face. And so the one who's got dessert on the face, and she looks at Muhammad and says, what do you want me to do now? Muhammad says, you do it back to her now. Like this was his life and this was the way he treated his wives. It wasn't all strict, you must do this, why did you do this, why didn't you do this? It was a loving relationship. He had a wife called Aisha, she was 18, and she says, I was a young girl, so I had, we like entertainment, we like sports and everything while we're younger. When we get older, we have less time. So he goes, I was young and I used to see the African men come to the mosque and they used to practice archery in the mosque. Like an after school club kind of thing. They used to practice archery in the mosque. And she says that I was a young girl, I loved watching them play. And I knew Muhammad was busy. But because I wanted to watch them play, he stayed with me the whole way. And he stayed and he sat and he comforted me and he enjoyed it with me. And he never ever asked me, she says, I sat there and I stood there for so long watching it, knowing he was so busy, just to test his patience. And never ever did he ask me, let's go, you've taken too long. Like this was Muhammad's life with his wives. It comes another tradition that he had with his wife Khadija, his first wife, he had children with her. So while she was pregnant, they had a race. He used to race with his wives. So he was racing with his wife and he beat her because she was pregnant. So he beat her it was a foot race. He beat her in the foot race. When she had given birth and, her body was back to its full abilities again, they raced again and she beat him the second time. And then he said that everything that wins has to lose one day. Everything that reaches a peak has to come down. This was his relationship with his wives. And this is what we encourage, obviously, all Muslims. And it's actually, if you think about it, it's not just a role model for Muslims. If every person in their lives, Muslim or non-Muslim, put these principles into their marriage of love, of care, of prioritizing your spouse's needs over your own needs. One thing we see today in all marriages, not just every type of marriage, is the man he's the man of the house, the breadwinner, which is fine. But you won't see him consult his wife all the time. He won't take counsel because we just think, oh, she's a woman. What can she tell me that I don't already know? One of the greatest tests in the Prophet's time was, they had gone, just imagine this. Those days it was traveling by camelback and horseback. So he was in Medina and he wanted to go back to Mecca. It was weeks of traveling on camelback. You couldn't take certain amounts of food. It's not like a plane, you get there in 5-6 hours. No, this was camelback. This was hard work. 1,400 of them left from Medina to go to do a pilgrimage in Mecca. And they're stopped on the way from the guys in Mecca saying, you can't come in. So these guys who've come from Medina, they're vexed. They go, we've left our homes, we've left our businesses, we've left the farms, we've left our family. We've just come here to do pilgrimage. We haven't come here to fight. Why don't you let us in? We'll be back. We'll go back tomorrow. Pilgrimage is a few hours. We'll go back tomorrow. And the guys in Mecca were like, you can't come in. So the Prophet Muhammad said, let's head back to Medina. We don't want to fight. Let's go back to Medina. We haven't come. We came here with the intention of pilgrimage, not the intention of war. Let's go back. There were 1,400 of them, the Prophet's companions, and they thought, you know what, we've made so much sacrifice, we don't want to go back. We can't come back till next year because only certain times of the year you can come, once a year. So we can't come back till next year and all this sacrifice and we're getting sent back because we can't do it. So Prophet Muhammad is in a position now that they're not, they're so distraught and they're so upset of not being allowed in that they're not going to accept coming back. I feel, they're going to take it into their own hands now. What do I do? He brought his wife with him. He was confused. What's the first thing he did? He went to his wife and asked her, what do I do? And he asked his wife, he said, I'm in this predicament, I'm in this position, now tell me what to do. And his wife said, you know what, Prophet Muhammad, you just set off on your own, they'll follow suit. Rather than saying it to them, show them and actually start moving off, they realize that, yeah, he's serious now, so they'll walk off as well. But the principle is, who did he go to consult first? He didn't ask any of his companions, who did he go to consult first? His wife. So if you respect and if you obey and you fulfill the demands of your Lord, and we believe Allah, and you fulfill the demands of the people around you, starting with your home. They say charity starts at home. If you fulfill the demands of your family first, and then you fulfill the demands of your brothers, your sisters, then of your co-workers, those under you, your employees, those above you, your employers, your teachers, etc. Imagine the world and the society we'd be living in. If everybody respected each other, everybody loved and cared for each other, forgave each other and forgot each other's mistakes, we'd be living in the most amazing, loving, caring society in the world where nobody would ever go hungry. Yeah. And these are all basic principles. These aren't just Muslim, like Islamic principles. These are basic human principles. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I agree. Now, Islam and Prophet Muhammad came, and they came to really push this. They thought that, you know what? Right now, the only thing tempting you or pressurizing you to serving your parents is pressure from your community. It's pressure. People are going to say, look at this guy, he's put his, he don't look after his parents, he don't respect his teachers, never listens to what anybody says, doesn't respect his elders. So they said, what we're going to do is we'll make it a religious obligation. So now people have two sorts of pressure. They have pressure of the people and they have pressure of pleasing the Lord. Yeah. And that's all it is. Obviously, the reason I'm saying all is because Islam has been given, the image has been completely distorted in the media. And they'll take 0.001%. They'll take 5 people, 5 bad people, and they'll try to judge 1.6 billion people in the world based on the action of 5. It's not fair. You can't do it. Like couple of days ago, there was a black woman in the bus who was being racist at the Muslim woman. Immediately, and we've seen it as Muslims. Now and I saw it myself, that they were saying, look at these black people being racist. I go, no, it's not black people being racist. It's one black woman being racist. Yeah. You can't say, you can't be stereotypical. No. You can't be stereotypical. So all I'm asking is we have this issue with Muslims as well. We say, like I said, Muhammad was a perfect role model. But as Muslims, we've forgotten his life. And if we actually read through his life from proper sources rather than looking at it from the media's perspective, media want to sell papers. Yeah. They want the most clicks on the website. Yeah? Of course they do. Exactly. Yeah. They don't want to give the truth. It's natural with anybody. They don't want to give the truth. If you actually read the life of Muhammad, there's so many principles to be learned. Even if you read it as a non-Muslim, you'd realize it. Gandhi, Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi? Yeah. He read the life of Muhammad. He was a strict Hindu. He read the life of Muhammad. It was a 2-volume book. And he said, I've read the life of Muhammad. I finished the 2 volumes, but I wish there was more to it from the amazing life of this amazing man. There's lessons in it for everybody. Lessons how to live your life with people, how to live it with your Lord. So I just hope and pray that we can take something back from his life, and God bless their marriage. And God Allah, He blesses the families, creates love and unity between the families, and the children grow up to be ambassadors for society, for community, actually grow up to be good people. Such a really big thing that your kids grow up and be good people today. Yeah. So that's a little talk and that's a prayer. I hope I enlightened you in some way.
You have definitely most that. Yeah,
thanks, sir. Yeah.